I pushed the wrong button there. Good morning, everybody. You gotta remember, push all the right buttons, and then good things happen. But if you forget, bad things happen. I hope everybody's doing good today. Just nice chill Sunday. Greg is not here today, so it's just me. I am the one. So welcome. I want to know. And thanks for coming, Dominic. I see you here already. So, hello. Today should be pretty, chill. However, um, I'm going to be going through a little bit of Kai, I think that's how you pronounce it. Kaya, Kia. Um, it it's the Clipper install and update helper is what it stands for. So on a past stream, we talked about formatting the car, your SD card on a Raspberry Pi as your controller. Um, for Mainsail, so we went through Raspberry Pi configurator, did Mainsail, installed it, and then it already had Clipper on it. We're gonna just take that. I'll show you kind of the other way to install Clipper, but also expand your Clipper once you have it installed. So it should be pretty good. But before we get that far, I just want to say a big thank you to all these people on this list. House at the top, but everybody on the list here. Keep the lights on here at 3D Make It, figuratively, if websites and that kind of stuff keep going. The little bips and bobs that we run into that we need, and you guys make it all happen. So thank you very, very much for being on this list. If you wanted to join these cool people, Patreon comes with Discord. So we have a private Discord channel, and we also have Patreon live streams, which is coming up. It won't be next weekend, it'll be the weekend after in June. Which is probably going to be the wrap up stream for the year for me. Because spoiler alert, it's getting warm finally. So, patreon.com/3dmakeit is where you can join up for all those benefits. You can check it out. If you wanted to check anything else out or just see all of our socials, you can go to www.3dmakeit.ca. So, we did it. We did the thank yous. And again, we appreciate you. So thank you. There's not a whole lot news wise, which isn't unheard of coming towards summer. Lots of the driving force with 3D printers comes between December or just before December and then just after like Chinese New Year. You'll see like all the new releases drop and that kind of stuff. So I mean, Bamboo Lab updated their slicer a bit. If that's exciting for you, it's it's cool for me because I like to use Bamboo Slicer and Orca Slicer. Um, I'm not sure what everybody else is using for slicers these days, but I mean, Orca's pretty good, and Bamboo Slicer obviously is what Orca's forked from, and it's forked from Prusa Slicer. So they both perform very well. It's just Bamboo has that direct access to Maker World, which is take it or leave it. If you, I've used it a couple times and it's kind of fun. It's handy. You search right inside your slicer there, and then um, yeah, you just get what you want in kind of a one-stop shop. And I think that's the power of Orca Slicer, Bamboo Slicer, Prusa Slicer. Kira, I think now has it built in, but it used to be the plugin where you could hook to your microcomputer or tiny compute that's running the printers. So, um, yeah, that's kind of new. Um, the other thing I guess is Fusion 360 uh, added a little feature. It's so small, like it's almost not worth mentioning, but it is because basically what it does is if you use Fusion 360 to do your designing, they've put in like a little calculator. Basically, it's an add-on. It's a free add-on, and it's a calculator to tell you like kind of like the lifespan of your object and like the um like an analysis breakdown, shall we say, of is it green? How much electricity does it use? Um, and I know for lots, like even for me, it's important, right? Like that's an important thing when you're running a printer farm, or a few printers at home. I guess you should kind of think sustainability just from the uh, standpoint of this good for the environment. The the honest truth is, when you run 3D printers, plant a tree. You're gonna offset the carbon that came from your printers by planting a tree or similar. Probably a small shrub would do it really, but yeah. Now we will move on. We're moving on up. We shall move on to Kiauh, and this is part of the Clipper series. This is probably like the end of the Clipper series. That would be the live streams. Greg and I will compile all of the information from the Clipper series into a video and post that on the channel there as like a live video, or not live video, sorry, I should just say like a historical video, so you can go and reference that video. The are going to be as are going to be as um how you say, succinct, I guess. Going to try to be direct and thoughtful in how I present this, so it should be a resource for you too. But the first thing when we talk Kiauh or Clipper, and we talked about it before, spoiler alerts, is you got to set up a Raspberry Pi. And to do that, we're going to use PyImager, which happens to be installed on my computer over there, or ready to go. So we did talk about a little bit about Imager, so I'm going to go a little quicker this time because we do have some historic stuff. But basically, you pick which Raspberry Pi you have. So, I mean, I don't have a 5, but I'm not actually going to put this in a Pi. So, I'll pick a 4. So, the 4 series. And you can see it's by series now. That's important to know. So, like, all the 4s are in here, including the computes, the S's, everything, right? Um, so pick by series. You're going to choose your OS type. Now, before, when we did this, we went down to other general OS. No. Other specific. Yeah. And then 3D printing. So, and then we picked mainsail. And you can see, like, it's great because mainsail's in here. They've rolled that in. It's an easy way for you to actually manage the install. And it's pretty simple. We showed that off, and it doesn't take too much time. However, neither does the other way. So we're gonna pick our Raspberry Pi image, and then we're going to choose the storage. Now I plugged a SD card in. Oh, and then it didn't show up, and I got impatient or unplugged it. Story of my life. So, just wait a second. Did I could pick it again? Oops. Let's make sure that it is showing. It is E. We want E. So let us find E. Yep. So it's picked. We'll click next, Next brings up the settings screen. So if you have already imaged a Raspberry Pi before and you've put in your network and stuff, this is where it's done. I'm gonna hit edit to bring it up. You can give your Pi a name here, so you could call it like Clipper test or whatever, right? Like something that you'll remember. Remember me. Um, and then you can set the username, the password. You should always change the password from the default here. So don't skip this step. Definitely do the password. Then you can join your Wi-Fi. Pick your country, set your time zone, that kind of stuff on the screen. So it's very one-stop shop. You can tell it, hey, I'm going to use SSH with a password, or you can do a public key. And then at the end, you can just leave these default. This is what it's set. So it's like just eject me when I'm done. Play sound. No, that's enable telemetry. That's all fine. So if once you're done, the first time through, you just hit save. This time you hit save. If you don't want to use those settings, you can clear them, but we want to use them. So you click yes. And then once you click yes, the wizard will start and it will erase that SD card and then start working on it to get the image on. So that's simple. That is simple. That's Raspberry Pi installer there. So the next step. Now this one is there's a bunch of optional stuff that come in this step. You can download a program called Putty. You can use if you have Windows 11, you can use Terminal. If you don't have Windows 11 and have Windows 10 that doesn't have Terminal, because eventually it did install on 10, but if you don't have Terminal, guess what? You can use PowerShell. Okay, or if you don't want to use any of those, you can, in modern versions of Windows, again 10 and higher, with the latest updates on 10, you can use Command Prompt. Wow, look at all these windows. There's so many windows that you can choose from. So Putty historically has been an SSH telnet serial connector of choice for a long time of IT, and it still does have a lot of use case, especially when you get to the serial connections. It serial connection is plugging right into like a Pi or a controller or a network switch, something that gives you serial feedback, building management systems, that kind of stuff. You can plug it in and program the serial over the serial connection. Now, hopefully, nothing that you have in your house uses Telnet anymore. But if it does, Putty can handle Telnet fairly well too, and I would say a little bit better than Command Prompt. SSH though, all three of these things will run SSH, or I guess four, right? Because we have Terminal, which is basically running PowerShell, but Terminal is nice because Terminal will let you like add a different session of any of your choices, so you can actually run PowerShell Command Prompt from Terminal. But those are the options. Command Prompt, all of these run the same. So we can close those windows. We'll just leave Terminal open. All of these run the same. Now the difference is in connecting. So if I wanted to connect to my printer via Putty, via SSH, I leave Putty SSH open, and then once this imager is done, and we are just going to let this finish and write, because you're going to take this card, plug it into your Pi will join your network, then you have to go find your Pi, and you would do that through your router, usually settings, or you could use a network scanner like Angry IP is a good one. So if you weren't sure kind of where stuff was, you can actually grab Angry IP and then you can set a range in Angry IP. So by default, if your computer's on the network, it just fills in hey, scan the network I'm on, which is great, right? So here I would put 0, here I put 55, and then if we wanted to scan, so I happen to know mine's like way lower, so I'm going to increase the speed of this process. But you would use the default values, and then you hit start, and then it spits out a list of all the IPs that are attached to devices, and it does its very best to fill in host name through netboy and some other methods. But you can see here it found my ender 3, it found another ender 3 and another ender 3. Found a few ender 3s, right? um so it did find my printers. So now I could be like, what was the one I just named? Oh, it was XYZ. It was this one, right? So I'll remember 50.7. So like it's the 50.7, I would take that IP, and now I can manage it. So like if you were to go poop to the IP address of the 50.7, let's just if I remember how, favorites. Nah, I don't remember how. That's fine. So like let's say that we have our, like, this is our printer, it's the CR10S, the camera's up and running. This is the Clipper instance I've been running. If you're doing any of the steps on a Clipper instance, which you can do this on your running instance, and that's what we're doing, but we're just pretending the Pi just went in. Always come to machine, always click any files that you made, and I made those two, and then I'm just going to download them. Boop. And you can see it zips them and downloads them for me. That way I have them in case something goes terribly wrong and I have to restart. I can just put those files back into the default config. And you can see here, like, I don't have a lot of, oh, that's weird. It's good of an STL. I must have not been thinking. I don't have anything too crazy other than the default, and then my macros config is something that I built too, so that I could run, like, I edited G29 and I have the M600 stuff as well. Pause. But like on mine, my macro just says, hey, if I issue G29 home the printer, and then we're going to calibrate a bed mesh for the profile named bed-D, and then it says at the end, once it's done, it loads that profile, and then it goes back and just chills at 10 10 10. So that's really all I have in mind. So it wouldn't be like the worst if I lost it, but I still want to lose it. That's just, why lose it when you can download them? So download them, keep a config backup. You can see here that the config backup is actually inside of the files listed, so it makes a copy and it stays on there as well. So you can if you know you're not going to bork the whole thing, like if you weren't going to make mainsail unaccessible or the Pi, the config backup does exist on board as well. So but yeah, this is my Clipper instance that we are going to pretend that we just kind of set up. And once you plug in the Pi, if you use the mainsail image, this will start. But we just said Raspbian, so we're going to connect via SSH to the Raspberry Pi. So the first thing, if you're using command prompt, PowerShell, or terminal, you just type the word SSH, type your username, and then you put an @ and then you type in the IP address of what you're trying to get to. PuTTY simplifies it a bit, whereas you just type the IP address in here, and then you can hit enter, and then it'll say, hey, there's a certificate, do you trust it? Spoiler alert, the answer is always yes. So here's what that window looks like. You just hit accept, and then this is PuTTY. So you can see PuTTY starts at the user, whereas the SSH utility in PowerShell is able to pass the username on, and then I just have to type the password in. PuTTY is nice too, because it does offer a little more features. Like you can save your session, you can change the text a little easier. But I mean, it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. So goodbye, putty. All right. So we'll stick around. We'll play in our PowerShell environment for today's example. But I just need to get my other window open here too. Sorry. There we go. All right, now I can see things a little better. Okay. Now to do Kiauh. Can't wait one day. Hello password? Oh, I was in the wrong stream. So the fun part with terminals is you don't get to see the password generally. So the password's obfuscated, so it doesn't show you how many characters you're typing or anything like that. So it's fairly secure that way, which is good, which is very good. So you can see, like, it gives you, like, if you know, when you sign in, it tells you like what it is, kind of like, you know, what operating system, the welcome banner, if you will, and where you connected from. So it's like, hey, yeah, you're connected from this IP. If this isn't you, something's wrong. Well, it is me, so we're good. So once you're connected to your terminal, there's a few things that you should do. The first is check to see if you too many windows. Check to see if you have Git. So you can do that just by typing Git, Git, and then if you have it, it pops up all this information on how to use it. Okay. If you don't have it, you can get it by just typing sudo install. I need to type better. Sudo sudo apt install, and then we're gonna do git, and then you can do a -y if you want. What that does is the -y, if there's a question like during the install, it just answers, yeah, do it, that's fine. Force the install all the way through. So if I were to run this command, it would be like, hey, I already have it, or it should be anyway. Might find a new version actually. Yeah, there you go. So if you don't have it, it would start scrolling and saying like installing it. It'll tell you, oh, it's going to take this much memory on your Pi, and away you go. So that's Git. Once you have Git, there's two commands you have to run, and I'm going to post the. I'll just hit it into chat right now, and then I'll remember to add it into the comment or the description. Why are you blocking me? Hello? Apparently I can't post the comment on my own YouTube channel. Okay. Interesting. I wonder when that started, but that's fine. I'll just put it in the description right now. So if you are... Oh, I wonder if it signed me out. Let's see. Yep. It signed me out. 1 second. Sorry about that. I've noticed that sometimes when I start a new stream, it does sign me out of, like, unfortunately, the YouTube account attached to the channel, and then I can't post anything. Hello? One second. Technical difficulties are the best, yeah. Okay. Put this here. And I can grab this. Sorry, I just want to get that into the description too, right? So sorry, but bear with me. Right, there we go. I wonder if it does it when I do the pop-out chat. Boop. Let's put this here. Put this here. Okay, so if you wanted to, let's see if this works better this time. Edit, paste. Yay, I'm allowed to post again. There's the link. So the link that I just posted inside of the chat there is to the GitHub wiki. And I will post the Kiauh wiki in the description here too. Key, the install and update helper. Done. So there's not too many steps on the GitHub either, which is fine. So let's try this again. Pop out chat. Shrink this window. And hopefully we are good to go. So the next step, once we have all of that done, we're going to run a copy command from Git. Now I will paste it here. So this is from the GitHub again. Step by step, we're on step 2. So after you get the Raspberry Pi installed with Raspbian, we'll go here. The CD is changed directory. The tilde is the directory we're changing to. You can see though, spoiler alert, if you look back here, we're already at tilde. So this command isn't going to really do anything other than put us back into the directory we're in. And then when you see the 2 ampersand signs, it means and after run this command. So this, the get clone GitHub link here is actually what we are intending to run. The CD backslash or the CD tilde, sorry, just make sure that you're in the tilde directory. So you grab it, you run the command, and it looks like this. If you wanted to see what it did, you can like do a quick ls. Dir works as well, but it doesn't look pretty. So you can see though, I have a Kiauh directory here now. And the next thing we're going to do is run that script. Hey, Gary. Good morning. So in their documentation online, we have this. So /Kiauh/Kiauh.sh. So, but what this is saying is just go look in the directory Kiauh and then run this script. If I run it, you can see it brings up Kiauh. So last week we talked a little bit. Excuse me, just take a drink. We talked a little bit about jailbreaking or rooting the clip K1 series from Creality, and you'll note that this looks very, 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 very similar. Like super similar. So you can see like right now it's reporting that I do have Clipper installed and I do have Moonraker installed. I've installed Mainsail and Crow's Nest, right? So all of these are basically requirements for you to run a successful instance of Clipper. Now, my Clipper is probably a little lighter than others. There's lots of features and stuff that you can install on top of Clipper, right? Let's say you wanted to see if you liked Fluid over Mainsail. Mainsail, like we've shown a few times, I had it up here 2 seconds ago. Let me see if I can find it. Boop. So this is Mainsail, right? So this is the layout of Mainsail. And then Fluid is the OG, and it is more fluid is what the interface is called. So they think it's more fluid to use Fluid. But you can actually put both on if you wanted to test them, right? So like if I wanted to see how fluid was, right? I can hit 1 on the install here. So on the menu, 1 would be the option, and then you can see I have Clipper, Moonraker. So yeah, web interfaces, mainsail, fluid, right? So I can pick there. So like if I wanted to switch to fluid from mainsail, I have all my configs, like those two macro, the macro and the config, printer config. So I don't even need to worry. I could just uninstall mainsail, install fluid, and away we go, right? Um, if I go back to the main menu, you can see there's update. So like if anything you have requires an update, so like you can see I have Clipper version 12.0-145, and we're actually on 12.0.206 now, right? And my Moonraker API is a little out of date. My mainsail is a little out of date, right? I think this printer, I want to say we did it a month ago, maybe a month and a half. So like it has updates available. So I could be like, ooh, I better do those. And then 13. I'm not gonna do them right now, but I will. Okay. So it helps you do that because then you don't have to go and like worry about cloning. If you have something that you want gone, you can get rid of it with the 3. Right, so if you have mainsail and you're switching to fluid, or vice versa, or maybe you don't want MJPEG streamer anymore because you don't want people watching you through your camera at night, right? Or maybe you're getting rid of Octoprint. You can do that all through here. So the Kiauh helper's very easy to understand and navigate. It's still a text-based GUI, right? Like it's all ASCII, and that's great. But if you hit 4, you can see like we get some more options, right? Like theme installer for mainsail, right? If I were to go into that one, boop, you could see like, oh, hey, there's a bunch of themes. I could probably add those, and it might look good. Um, so you could actually add other themes into your, So let's install Cyberpunk, because why not? And so it runs through, and this is how it works for everything. It'll run through, install what you asked, and then eventually bop you out to the main menu here. And it does say, remember to clear your browser's cache. So like it's talking about any browser that you were using mainsail with, you'll have to clear the cache because it won't in theory change, but you can see it did change. I'm not sure what makes this cyberpunky. The skulls don't remind me of cyberpunk too much. So like, and you could go through, and if you hated this one, obviously you could go through, bop back here and be like, mistakes were made. Let's try dark acrylic. Or vibrant acrylic. Let's do vibrant acrylic. So you can see like it's reloading the theme in the background and then just reskinning. So, this is helpful, especially if you run more than one printer as well, because you can change, like in the original with vanilla, I should say vanilla mainsail. You can change the color of the button, but I like backgrounds and themes because if you're logged on to one printer and you think you're working on one printer, but all the printers have the same, um, all the printers have the same theme. It could be that you're on the wrong printer, right? So here we'll use some Minecraft theme. I actually kind of like that. Yep, winner. So this printer will now have the Minecraft theme, right? Now, I know the script on the Creality helper lets you run both fluid and mainsail. So experiment time, learning if the script can do it. We're gonna install fluid here with mainsail. you need to choose a different port for fluid. So it's smart enough to know that, hey, um, you already got fluid running. Let's see what ports are available. 8080, is that good? Okay. Sometimes the camera runs on that port, but we'll try it. So we'll just say 8080. Okay. So what this will do is it's going to extract and download fluid. It's asking, do I want to add the recommended macros? So I'm just going to go yes. Right? And it's going to restart, obviously, all the Moonraker and the web services. So that's why the page behind it disappeared. Um, and then port fluid is configured for port 8080, it says, which is great. That's what we chose. And then it says job failed to control. So it's just saying it couldn't restart the service. So if I go sudo service nginx restart, let's see if it can stop this. Might just have to reboot the Pi too, which is, oops, that's not gonna work. I wanted to do this first. Let's see if the service is down. Yeah, it is. So the oops, moving things I don't want to move. Nginx is down. It did stop, it says, so it reported stop. So we'll see if we can start it now. Nginx is the web server, right? So on Apache or on on Linux systems, Nginx is a choice for a web server. So is Apache. Nginx can run more load more efficiently than Apache can, but like that's at a limit of lots of people using that website, whereas like Clipper is just us. So you could get away with Apache, but the thing is all of these are set up and the scripts are set up to run through Nginx. So you'd have to like do some fancy footwork there. So let's just do a continuous ping here on 7 and we'll see when it comes back up. So that's kind of like Kiauh, in a nutshell. It helps us install more portability inside of more portability inside. There we go. Oh, nope. Silly David. That one. More portability, easier to install. You don't have to like remember all the commands line after line. Again, you could see that that we did use the Raspberry Pi builder on stream to build my instance of Clipper of Moonraker. So now you can see that we have on the left hand or right hand side, sorry, that we have installed fluid, right? So if I were to go 4, let's see, did it change much in here? No, it did not. So you could see that like fluid didn't have a whole lot of skinning and that stuff. We could go into advanced. There should be some, yeah. So you could have this G-code shell command, which lets you ping G-code command in the shell. It's handy. I have not used it yet. There is change host name too, which is handy because you can see it's supposed to be CR10S, but it does say Ender 3 as the host name here. So if I were to go 7, do you want to change the host name? Yes. I want it to be CR10S. Yes. Okay, and to change the system host name, you need to type your password for your administrator account in because it has to elevate to do that. but now it's changed it. It says, we'll see if it sticks. I've changed this one several times, several times, and it's not stuck. I think there must be something wrong in the kernel, maybe. So, and this one lets you find your controller, right? So that's in the advanced, and then you get MCU ID, right? And then how are you connected to the MCU? USB. So then it'll identify and tell you, like, oh, this is your MCU ID. And you could take this, and we talked about this one as well, but this would go inside of your machine settings to like map to the printer. So if I go to my printer CFG and then I go to the MCU, you can see that ID's right there. And you don't have to remember the command to find it, although the command to find it is really easy. It's just ls dev serial by ID, and you hit enter. So, but it's a one-stop package. That's the point. This is designed to help you install Clipper the easiest way I think that you can. Honestly, this is a pretty easy, painless way to do it. So if I were to go up here and go to my 7 on port 8080 now, you can see that here's the fluid interface for the same printer too. So like this interface, you can see that it so on the other one, and I can do it up here. See, so that's their emergency stop, notification, trusted users. You can add more printers, which is a nice little feature. A Raspberry Pi can manage more than one printer at a time, so that's it's a good thing. Settings gear, and then what? See, now I haven't used a lot of fluid. That's a thing. So I'm looking for, there it is, cameras. So you can see like where mainsail like has like horizontal. So if I just close this, like mainsail has this kind of like horizontal input. So then if I click settings, it pops up. It's very similar, but it's more modern, I would say, in the way that it handles like the next window for the user experience. But if I go camera, I can click add camera. I can name the camera cam. I guess it's a poly cam, so poly. I had a Logitech on there, but it did definitely break, which was sad. But it has been with me for a while. Camera, where are cameras? See, they're right here. And you can see like Logi is an option. That's the old camera. And that camera is from the other feed cameras. Let's see. Let's get rid of this. Yep. Okay, and then I'm gonna go over here actually, cameras. Oh, webcams. There we are. And so you can see like I deleted the one and it automatically deleted, and so you can see that they're using and drawing from the same configs, which is to be expected, and it's actually kind of nice. Let's restart Clipper here. See if we can trick that into being happy. You can see that when I restarted Clipper on the mainsail interface, the fluid interface actually reset Clipper as well. So they are definitely tethered in a good way, right? They rely on the same services. So like if you come here, you can see I can reset all the services if I want. I'm going to reboot the host again, so I'll do it from here. Just want to get that webcam working. So both very similar. I don't know. Do you guys have a favorite interface when it comes to Clipper? Are you fluiders or are you mainsailers? So Creality uses that kind of like cut up fluid for their like interface on Creality print. So if I go to, oh, I don't even remember. 192.168.50 dot, oof, something. I can look on the screen. It's behind me, but that's okay. Let's see here. Did my camera come back up? Nope. Sadness. I can look behind me. So the control light's on the camera, so it knows it's there. It just hasn't fired on. So here's what we are going to do. We are going to go back to the settings. We're going to go cameras. And then we are going to go remove. And then that one, let's just make sure that it's removed from our good friend Mainsail here. Yep. Just a side note too, like your Raspberry Pi does have a lot of horsepower for running both Clipper and or sorry, not Clipper, Mainsail and Fluid. Some controllers, do I have HTOP on here? Yeah, some controllers may not. So you can see like the Raspberry Pi is fairly underutilized still, right? Like there's not a lot of pressure on the memory or the cores. Cores are the top here, memory's the bottom. When you have problems with memory, if you see anything pop up in this thing that says swap here, you're in trouble. It just means that like your active memory is utilized and you better come up with a backup plan. So let's grab our camera here and we're going to add a camera. I'm going to name the camera Polycam. Stream type MJPEG adaptive should be fine. Add. So like it's giving you the camera URLs here too, which means like if you wanted to look at just the camera, you could copy that and then append it to the back end of the URL. So if I go 192.168.50.7 and then I paste that in, it should go to an action stream of the camera. It did not. That's fine. Polycam is in there. Yep. Okay, let's see. There's the webcam back. It's just not adding it. Probably another reboot will do it now because it's the only camera in there. Let's just check here, make sure that our settings are right. Webcam, Polycam, action stream, adaptive. This could be the problem. I'm not sure if it handles adaptive or not. I will try MJ streamers. Sup, happy place. Thank you. Update. Let's fire this update here. Well, it definitely changed it to gray. I wonder if I didn't bump that webcam too. It has a shutter on it. So that could be the problem. It is a bit of a weird camera too. Let's do that. I will futz with that off stream. But you could see how with Kiauh we were able to install not only see what we had installed, I should say, but we were able to install Clipper and install Moonraker and all of the components behind it, as well as we're using Fluid now and Mainsail right on the Pi. So I guess the last thing that we want to do in here is we'll check and we'll do the update, right? Because this is an update assistant. So the first thing it does when you click the update is it asks for your admin password again for the Raspberry Pi. And you can see that like Crow's Nest is getting an update. Fluid's the only one that's fine. So I can choose which one to update, or I can do all. Let's do update all. So this one's actually going to take a second because it looks like there's a system upgrade too, which means like the host, the actual Raspberry Pi, which isn't surprising. They do need updates time to time. So as this one goes through, it does tell you what it's doing. So Clipper was installed, then it'll be like, hey, I did the mainsail update, right? And away we go. Just takes a second. It'll probably take a little bit longer than a second because of the system updates there. So while it's doing that, I would like to thank our Patreons. Once again, everybody on this is super important to us. Thank you for being Patreons, following the channel. Keep the lights on, let the little projects happen, like the websites and that. We do have a private Discord for our Patreons. You can join in the shenanigans at patreon.com/3dmakeit. You can also find us at all of our socials, www.3dmakeit.ca. Remember, if you enjoy, share the channel around in the forums and stuff. It helps a lot. I've been banned from a few forums because I was posting help replies in forums, but under the 3D Make It like accounts, and then they were like, that's self-promotion. I'm like, I was just answering a question in plain text. I didn't even put a video there, but okay, self-promotion. So we need you to help share because, well, if we try to do it, it just doesn't work. They frown upon it. But that's Kiauh in a nutshell. The update will finish eventually here. I would be shocked if it finishes in the next 5 minutes. I don't think so. Usually when you get those system upgrades, they can take about 30 minutes on a Raspberry Pi. So once you trigger it, hang tough. It will work. I appreciate you all coming and hanging out. Next week, there will be no stream because we are going to the land of the free and the home of the brave. I think I got that right. We're heading south, in other words. We'll be in America and we won't be back in time to run a stream. So, the week after, tune in for the Patreon stream. All right. And we'll send the links out for that about half hour early in the Discords and link on Patreon itself. So, yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out. You guys are always great. Hope you found it interesting and a little bit exciting. I know sometimes this command shell stuff can be a little dry, but honestly, I think now you have what it takes to build a Clipper interface, and we will have that video. So awesome. Okay. Well, until next, I guess next week, we'll see you guys. Take care.